feather or the tail forward to measure. If it's a little too long, you can always just pull a little bit off. Okay, let's see. Again. And this chenille that we're using, it is called Purple Beaver. So let's see. And then you'll need a black hackle. And I've seen some people who will tie, some wire in it to reinforce it if you want, so the fish don't tear it apart as easily. Just anchor that. And then you'll tie your chenille on. I just like to tie it off. And then you bring your thread forward. Actually, the hardest part of this is when we do the flash. So then with the rotary vise, it makes it easy. You can just, so I can move my line here. It's a new vise. I'm still getting used to it. Just tie that off. This fly we fished it shallow, fished it deep, and it seems like it doesn't matter. The fish will just go after it. I've stripped it slow, stripped it fast. Just half hitch those. Okay, then on each side of the fly, I get 2 strands of this purple Flashaboo. Yeah, just cut it. That's right, it's kind of fun. And we'll use the, hang on. Sometimes it has a mind of its own. Seems if I wet it, then it works a little better. And so I cut one strand in half and then fold it over and tie that on. And get another strand of the marabou. Okay. So now, take the, use the hackle, and you hold down the, bring it around, and then use the hackle to hold the Flashaboo. There we go. Then we like to do a couple extra winds of the hackle in the front. It's called a pusher. Just cut that off. Okay, so the next one, we'll say it's a close cousin to the first fly, and we call it the Beaverless purple, even though there's going to be purple in it. Same thing, I like to put down a thread base, using red thread again. Is that the white okay? Mm-hmm. Okay.
What was the first fly called?
So, purple beaver.
Okay.
I don't know if I sent that to Bill or not.
No, I didn't see.
I sent this one here is the Beaverless purple.
Okay.
And so, they're close cousins, and you'll see why here. This one, actually, I think it works just as well, and it's just a little easier to tie because you don't have to mess with the flash blue as much. And so the same thing is get some marabou for your tail, then measure it, make sure it's the length of the fly. Oh snap! I'm having bad luck today. Luckily. There we go. And so, I'm going to tie that off. And here's where we'll put the flash boo in the tail. We'll do it now, so this is how it's a little different than purple beaver. So I'll do the same thing, get one strand of the purple flash boo, cut it in half. And then put the strand on each side of the tail. Seems like when I wet it, it works better. Ah. There we go. Okay, next you need your black hackle. Tie that down. Now this one, the Beaverless purple, we use the this purple chenille. It's from Troutsman. I find it at Sportsman's. I'm sure Fish Tech has it too, but and you just take your thread forward. Just wind your chenille forward. Seems like Sportsman's usually just has like 3 or 4 of these packs, and when I'm there, so I always just buy everyone's. If I see 3 or 4, I'll just take them all.
Where do you live at?
Farmington.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, is there Sportsman's in Heber?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
It's a mini Sportsman.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna stop there on the way home, aren't you?
Hey, we have a Cabela's going to open up in April in Farmington. Okay, and then after you tie that off, then you just bring the hackle forward like before.
You use wire on this sometimes?
Pardon?
You use wire on this sometimes?
Yeah, you can use wire too on this to make it more sturdy. And then you just
Oh boy, it's magic. Through it.
and this is the Beaverless purple. The fly, actually, Rick Ellis came up with the name, and there we go. Okay, so this next fly, the Midnight Fire, gets its name from the chenille, which is called Midnight Fire. Probably find that most in these fly shops. And then in the tail, we use some flash. I don't know. This is white, I guess.
Pearl, I think that was called.
What's that?
Pearl.
Pearl. Anyways, so just like the other one, put down a thread base.
I have an olive flash. Are you using a pearl?
This?
Okay.
You can take some. Yeah, I'll do this and then you can, when we do it, whatever material you guys need. And the same thing, use the black marabou for the tail. Just measure, you want as long as your hook shank. Just tie that in there.
This is the Midnight Fire?
Yeah, Midnight Fire. And then measure. Okay, and then for the tail, that's where we'll put the flash. I just use 2 strands and cut it in half. And that seems to be enough. Ah. Okay. So take 1 strand, cut in half, and then fold it in half. And put on one side of the tail. Ah. And it's not wanting to go. Hang on. There we go. Long, so I'll just cut it. And then do the same thing for the other side. I like to tie that off. This one too, you can fish deep, fish shallow. I'll use the same jig motion with this as I do with the purple beaver, and it's a really good fly. And then tie in some hackle before the chenille, some black hackle. And then the Midnight Fire chenille, tie that in. just wind everything forward. Okay, and then same thing with the hackle, just bring that forward. I have to do a couple wraps in the back first and then bring it forward. Bless you. And then you just tie it off, and there you have it. Midnight Fire.
You're up.
All right. So this next fly is called a CBS Leach, a Leach pattern, and it's been a very, very good fly for us. Works great at Strawberry. Works great over at Matt Warner. I mean, wherever we fished, it's been great fish. I mean, a good fly. So I just use a red thread, and you'll need a dubbing twister, or dubbing loop. And for the tail, I mean, we use CBS Leach for the dubbing. Let me just. And for the tail, Arctic Fox. And this is burnt orange, or you can even use fiery brown. I got these from a website, waterswest.com. And I bought this, you know, you can see it's a big package. I'll never need to buy any more ever. It's like $12 for that.
Is this your pattern, Dave?
No, no. This is, like I said, I'm from the Bountiful Club, and this is one of Mike Andreessen's recipes or flies. And it's been a good one. And you'll need a copper wire, medium or small. Just tie that off. And then for the tail, just get a pinch of the Arctic Fox, not a lot. I like to get some of the stuff out of it. Usually I'll comb out if I got my comb, but there's not too many guard hairs in there. And the same thing, you want it as long as the shank. Let's see. You just tie that off. Then you get some copper wire.
You don't have Arctic Fox, can you use orange marabou or?
You probably could, yeah. You can use whatever you want.
I just never used Fox for before.
Yeah, marabou would work.
I have no idea.
Burnt orange or
You just
green
get out
brown.
early in the morning, you can chase them some bitches down.
I can't, they're faster than I am.
Oh, no. What's the texture of that fur? Is it like, looks like cat cores?
This stuff?
Yeah.
Oops. Sorry, didn't reach you.
That's a pretty fine texture.
Yeah.
Hear that?
Okay,
You got the weakest
so you
arm.
tie in your copper wire, medium, and then next you want to do your dubbing loop. And use the CBS dubbing. Let's see. And I'm using a 140 denier line or thread, and so I don't need to double up the loop. And I always like to wet it. And then for the dubbing, you put it sparse. You don't need to put a lot. And then you twist it. Oh, and I forgot to mention, your most important tool is your popsicle stick. Velcro stick, there we go. And see where it's a little thick, I'll pull some out. Save that. Okay, and then you just wind it forward. As you're going, you just brush it back a little bit. So it's pretty sparse. And this I'll usually fish with like either a intermediate or a number 1 or number 2 line. Tie that on. What's that? Yeah, you could. Pretty close.
CBS looks more golden, isn't it?
Well, I'm colorblind, so I couldn't tell you what color it is.
It's just, it doesn't look as golden there as it does up there, but.
And then I just, with the ribbing, then you just bring the ribbing forward. It's just more for added support. Pretty easy fly, but man, it's a good fly.
Just out of curiosity,
Yeah.
since you're colorblind, how do you organize your fly box?
I label stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they make fun of me, Mike and guys, because sometimes I do get the colors wrong.
They're cruel.
Yeah,
That's mean.
that's what you call fishing buddies.
They're like some of my fishing, but they get angry with you. We just tell you always to fish flat. Well, I'm catching on hauling, I'm throwing
And then the last part,
Yeah.
Only thing we make fun about you is that your wife catches more fish.
I think most wives do, because I know Schultz's wife is really good. Okay, so, and then get your Velcro stick and just brush it out. See, so it's pretty sparse, but in the water, it just dances. It's really, really good. I may have the tail a little bit long. Yeah, it's a little bit long, but it's all right. And that's the CBS Leach. Okay, so the last fly, it's called a Mighty Mouse. You probably have heard of it. We were up at the Idaho show last year, and Buddy Knight we were talking to him, and he showed us this fly. I think it's a Bill Shee's fly. And he goes, this is his #1 fly.
That's what he says about every fly.
Yeah. And so we've been tying it, and there's different. I like to put a little tail on it. Some people don't, but we started fishing it, and it's been a really good fly. We use it on like an intermediate line or number 2 line, and we joel it like we do the other ones, or let it sink down and then move it. But it's been a great fly. And usually I tie it on like a 8.2X or a 10.2X. It's killer up. We took it up. We used it last year up at Matt Warner, and I caught 45 fish on this fly.
Wow.
Of course, Mike and Rick caught like 80. So that's a great lake.
Here you go. Thanks.
Oh, sure.
I have to put it on my Git
Is
inventory.
it worth the drive in, I guess, huh?
I got one.
Yeah, we'll go. We usually leave on stay the night. Trying to think. We go up Tuesday morning, go to the lake, fish all day, spend the night in Vernal, drive back, fish it again, and then leave about 5 to come home. Get 2 days in. But it's a great lake.
Thanks for the dubbing tool.
So on this one, again, thread base down. And then for the tail, I use mallard. I believe it's olive. Let's see. Wood duck tan, it says. And I got some here
Oh, I got one feather.
if anyone needs any. And so I like to just take off a clump.
That's a dyke mallard?
Yeah.
Now we're losing
Are we all right?
focus.
Uh-oh. There we go. Same thing, make it. I actually do a little bit shorter than the length of the shank. And you'll need a dubbing twister for this one too. All right. Okay, and then next you add some copper wire, some medium. Oops. I just like to tie that off. And then some trusty peacock. And I just get a clump, I don't know, 5 to 8 strands of it. Kind of like that much. And just even off the ends. Tie that in. I like to tie that off. Okay, now get your dubbing loop. And when you make your dubbing loop, you want the dubbing loop to be shorter. So I got some short peacocks in there, or hurls. You want your loop to be shorter than the peacock hurl. I'll tell you why in a minute here. And I'll bring the thread all the way up to the front. Just tie that off. Okay, now here's the fun part. Okay, so I'll hold the loop with one finger, and then you bring the peacock hurl on top. Can you see that? And then you take your dubbing loop and you go on the bottom, and you take it above the peacock hurl, grab the strand and the peacock hurl. And that way it gets everything. And then you start twisting. I got one that's too short. Oh. What this does is help strengthen, that way you get your thread into the peacock. It strengthens the peacock, so you know it's pretty brittle. Okay, that's probably pretty good. Is it not focusing? Okay. And then you just wrap it forward. Like so. You tie that off. Oops.
That's size 10.
Yeah, 10-2X, 12-2X, you know, whatever you want to. I like a 10-2X. Okay, and then you tie it. I like the whip finish that, just to make sure it stays. Okay, so we still have the copper wire in the back. And next you'll need a brown hackle. The recipe calls for brown grizzly hackle. Well, I don't have any, so I'm just using brown, and it seems to work fine. Okay. And let's see. So just brown hackle, and you tie it at the front of the hook, because you use the copper wire to hold it in place after you wind it. So tie that off. Ah. Hang on. Make sure it's nice and tight. Cut off the. And then using your rotary, then you just wind it back to the back of the hook. Oops, I think I got it backwards. There we go. At the end, I like to go a couple times around, and then when you use the copper wire to, what do you call it, anchor it. So I'll go around one time at the end there, and then you just bring the copper wire forward, and then you tie it off. And use your bat pairs of scissors or your buddy's scissors to cut the wire. And then cut the piece of hackle off. It looks like I got a piece of peacock there. And that's the Mighty Mouse.